Where and when did you go to first grade?
I started first grade in 1953. I was 7 years old, and I was in Fort Worth, Texas. My daddy and mama were out there, and my sister was out there with us. And my mom and dad were going to the seminary. I started to go to B.H. Carroll Elementary School in the first grade, and when I was in the first grade, my mom and daddy used to call me Billy Martin because Martin is my middle name. They used my double name, so my daddy came into the classroom. My first grade teacher was a cute young thing, too. I think he had a crush on her. And he came in and he says, "Is Billy Martin in class? I've got to get him. I've got to get Billy Martin out of class." And she looked up and down her roll book, up and down her roll book. She looked at, "I don't have anybody by the name of Billy Martin in here. I have a Billy Blanton, but no Billy Martins." So he said, "Oh, well, that's his name, Billy Blanton. We call him Billy Martin at home because we call him by his middle name." So I had a good first grade year, and then in the second grade I went to Hubbard Heights Elementary School in third grade too there in Fort Worth. And I remember playing in Fort Worth and having stickers all in my feet because they're big stickers out there, riding my bicycle. One time I rode my bike out into the street and almost got hit by a car because the brakes stopped working on it. But I didn't get hit. If I'd been hit, I wouldn't be your grandpa probably, would I?
No.
No. So
Great
that's my
story.
first, second,
How was
third.
it in Texas?
Texas was hot and dry. In the springtime, the grass would come out and look real green, but by June, early summer, it looked like it does in winter. It's just as brown as it can be because it's so dry out there. And we didn't have an air conditioner either.
Ooh, yikes.
But we played cowboys and Indians and Davy Crockett and cars and all kinds of good games.
Did you play marbles?
I played marbles when I was in the fourth grade. When I was in the fourth grade, we'd moved to Russellville, Arkansas. My daddy was pastoring a little church up there. And we'd draw a big circle on the playground in the dirt. And we'd put marbles in the middle of the circle, and I'd have a big shooting marble, and we'd try to hit those marbles and knock them out of the circle. In that school, there were 6 grades. One grade for each one class. I mean, 6 classes. One class for each grade. First grade, a second grade, a third grade, a fourth grade, and a fifth grade, and a sixth grade. So it's a small school.
How long was it?
How long was the school? The school was a rectangular shaped, and it was, I don't know, probably, it looked big to me back then, of course, but it was probably 100 feet long, maybe. It had I think it had a little auditorium and a cafeteria. But that's all. But we would go out on the playground most every day and play on the playground. I remember I was scared to climb up on the monkey bars, though. We had monkey bars that were real circular like this, and I was kind of scared.
Like a dome?
Like a dome. I didn't like to get in there. I was a little scared to get in there.
We have one. Start getting into gardening.
My daddy had a garden. Every year when I was a little boy and a teenager, he had a garden in the backyard, and I'd like to eat the stuff out of the garden, but I didn't help in the garden much. But the first garden that I ever had was the summer before Grammy and I got married, and that would have been in 1968 on at my cousin's house. And so we had that garden, and then I've had a garden every year since then. For we got married in 1968, and in 2012, that means we've been married for 44 years. So I've had 45 gardens.
Whoa.
And grown corn every year.
Were you ever in the military?
I was not in the military during that time, during the Vietnam War, and studying to be a school teacher. So I was not in the military. They gave me what they call an exemption. I was exempt from being in the military. But I'll tell you a story about my best buddy in college. He was having trouble in college. He was not. He worked real hard to make his way through college, and he studied as hard as he could. But he didn't make the good grades. So he says, "I'm gonna drop out of school for 1 semester." Which was like 4 months, like you know what a semester is. And I'm going to work full time and save enough money so I won't have to work anymore in college and make better grades. He dropped out of school, and he was out of school less than a week. I mean, less than a month. And he was drafted. That means that Uncle Sam, the government told him, "You're going into the Army because you're not in school." And instead of going to Vietnam, where a lot of people were being killed or disabled for life, he went to West Germany. and he served his time there, so he was very fortunate. But I never had to go into the Army.
Were you a reenactor?
I was a reenactor. I worked in the Vicksburg Military Park, National Military Park, and we shot muzzle-loading rifles. We'd dress up in the uniform, the Confederate uniform one day on the weekend and a Yankee uniform the next day, and we'd shoot the muzzle loaders. You've seen the picture of me doing that. And then one year we made a mortar out of a tree trunk. We cut a tree down that was about this big around, put iron bands around it. It was about that long, the tree trunk was, and bored a hole in it, painted a softball black, and we shot a mortar out of it, and that was our weapons demonstration. And right now I've got to check the turkey. How about that, okay?
All right.